Hi, I'm Megan Powell and I'm doing a TED Talk on why humans are not meant to eat meat. So, why do you think humans eat meat? Most people say protein. We need it. But really there's a lot of plant-based sources of protein that you could have, like legumes such as peanuts or any bean, just nuts, cashews, almonds, mushrooms, lentils. There's many other sources that you can have to get your protein. Carnivores, omnivores, and humans, we're different. We can start with the physical attributes. Most carnivores and omnivores have canines and claws. We do not just walk around giant claws searching for our next meal. And we do not have the giant sharp canines. We have the flat molars in the back that are meant for grinding grains, fruits, and vegetables. That's why our jaw moves in side-to-side motions, up and down, while carnivores such as lions and tigers only move up and down, meant to rip the flesh off of animals. Also, humans, we have developed salivary glands that release an enzyme that pre-digests grains and fruits, while carnivores have acetic acid that can digest meat. Our acid in our intestines and stomachs is not strong enough to digest meat well. Now we can move to the internal tract. Humans' internal tract is about 10 to 12 times as long as our bodies. Lions and tigers or any other carnivore is only about 3 times as long. It's meant for the meat to go through. They get what they need from it and it just goes through their body. When we digest meat, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to come out of our bodies. I personally have experienced this. I'm now on day 27 of a vegetarian diet and I didn't feel a real change until about the 20th day or so, because that's when the meat really had all left my body. The stomach acid that we have as humans is about 20 times weaker than any other carnivore, therefore not meant to digest meat. Humans also have a hydrochloric acid which isn't designed to fully digest meat, along with our intestines being 20 feet long, twisted and turned and crammed into our bodies. How could meat ever get through that when it's one of the toughest things to digest? Having a longer intestinal tract means the meat has longer time in our body. Like I said, 2 to 3 weeks. That gives it time to grow bacteria which can cause food poisoning and in really severe cases, colon cancer. This is because our acid isn't strong enough to break it down fast enough like actual carnivores can. Humans have longer intestinal tracts to give it more time to digest and absorb nutrients from fibers and fruits and vegetables, which is more important to our bodies. Compared to chimpanzees, which are one of the closest animals to humans, we have a small intestine that is still much larger than theirs. The volume is far greater and our colon is much smaller. So chimps are still able to eat meat without it taking as long to go through their body. Well, it's still, like as humans, it still takes like extra long to go through us. Let's talk about one of the obvious differences. Humans do not have the carnivorous instinct to go chase down their next meal. We do not just tackle an animal with our large claws and eat the bloody raw flesh right from the carcass. For carnivores, it's a game to hunt down their next meal. We have to cook our meals. While cooking red meat, especially at high temperatures, is the greatest cause for colon cancer. Heart disease is one of the leading causes for deaths. Carnivores do not develop a hardening of the arteries even when fed 200 times the amount of fat and cholesterol that an average human eats every day. We humans actually consume about twice as much protein that we really need, and this causes a big problem. When you consume meat, it releases an acid in your blood, which then your bones compensate for by releasing calcium. You say, what? Calcium is supposed to stay in your bones. That's what makes them stronger. Exactly. Eating meat can cause osteoporosis, even kidney stones and kidney failure by the calcium just staying in the kidneys where it's not supposed to be. Cholesterol is a natural substance from consuming animal protein, and that soon began to build up in our arteries and veins. The prime danger of consuming excess meat is uric acid. Uric acid destroys kidney cells called nephrons, which then damages your kidney, which can lead to kidney failure. Now let's get to some statistics. By the early 20th century, humans consumed about 120 pounds of meat annually. By 2007, that nearly doubled. And the rise of heart disease was a result of that. Cholesterol is just natural from eating meat, and that blocks your arteries, which then leads to having to get heart bypass surgery. Today, about 500,000 humans get bypass surgery annually. Another crazy thing is, as fast food chains became more in demand, the cancer rates rose. Now we can look at some places that have little meat in their diets. For example, in 1958 in Japan, there was only 18 men that had autopsied prostate cancer. While their population was half the US at that time, the US had about 14,000 prostate deaths. In the 1970s, China's risk for heart disease was 12 times lower than the United States. In the highlands of Papua New Guinea, heart disease was rarely encountered because their diets included about no dairy, no meat, just no animal products. Another interesting piece of evidence from history is during World War II, when the Nazis confiscated all livestock from Norwegians. So from 1927 to 1939, the mortality of circulatory disease was increasing, but then as soon as the Nazis arrived and took away their livestock, it began to decrease from 1940 to 1944. And then by 1945, the war was over and they received all their animal products back, and the mortality from circulatory disease began increasing again. The Diet, Lifestyle, and Mortality Rate study in China by Dr. Campbell showed about 94,000 correlation between diet and disease. It was a decade-long study in 65 different Chinese counties. They tested about 367 diet variables, which then showed like what they ate would cause what disease. In this study, they found that a plant-based diet resulted in the lowest mortality rate. Another important doctor is Dr. Esselstyn, who did a study with 18 patients with heart disease. They were all given a time of death. He started them on a plant-based diet that ultimately reversed their heart diseases. Some of them are still alive today. This is because the endothelial cells that line arteries and veins are damaged when consuming meat. Endothelial cells are very important because they release nitric oxide, which aids in blood flow. And this ultimately then helps dilate the veins during physical activity, and it inhibits plaque from forming. Also, nitric oxide is a powerful force for eliminating inflammation due to plaque. Many scientific studies have shown that the Western diet, which is the United States, has caused many diseases. A whole food plant-based diet can not only prevent them from happening, but it can reverse these diseases. Still want to eat meat?